This video is gonna piss off a lot of gurus who sell $2,000 courses, but this AI bot wrote me a script that made over $73,000 in just 90 minutes, and then I used this design tool to turn that script into a fully designed slide deck in just minutes. And in this video, I'll show you how I built this entire AI workflow, how it works behind the scenes, and how you can use it to sell anything, even if you've never written a word of sales copy before. What's going on? It's Brian, and if you want to get a webinar slide deck like this built from scratch and then fully designed, I want to show you in this video how to do it with AI, where you literally push a few buttons. So this webinar generator custom AI bot that I built basically does it so that you can go and click on write my webinar. It's going to ask you a few things that it needs from you in order to write the webinar. As long as you give it that, it will spit out everything for you. So here you see I gave it some information for a hypothetical product, the cold email system for freelancers, what it does, a little bit about the audience, the key benefits, the big problem that the product solves, any USP, and the special offer details. Again, you don't even need to give it all of this. You could just give it 1 or 2 words for each one, and it's going to attempt to write it. But the more information you give it, the better it's going to do. Okay, so now that this is writing, while it does the rest of them, I'll show you how this works just for slide number 1. So slide number 1, one of the keys here to a high performing webinar, and I'll show you. This is one of the webinars that I did for a product that we created called Typeset, which is the actual product that you're seeing on my screen. I used Typeset to create this webinar slide. Typeset, if you've never heard of it, is a simple tool that lets you essentially automatically design a webinar presentation. This could be a YouTube video slide deck or a pitch deck. I could turn this into an ebook or a lead magnet to give away to generate leads. I can then turn it into Instagram posts. I can go wide, portrait, tall for reels. It's basically a digital asset designer where all you do is give it text and images or any other assets over on the right-hand side. You can add all kinds of stuff over here. You can go into AI mode and have AI write for you. You can add in titles, bullet points, lists, notes, throw in templates, bar charts, Figma files, videos, logos, like almost anything you can imagine. And then as you add content over here on the left, it updates and actually designs a slide for that one thing. So that if I change this and I delete this headline here, you'll see that it updates the design based on what you have over here on the left. On top of that, as you add stuff in, it obviously redesigns it again, and then I can use the magic wand and I can lay this thing out any way that I want. So I can say, all right, maybe I want, urgent briefing to be over here on the left. Maybe I want everything to be centered. Maybe I want an image over here. And Typeset's going to go grab images for you that it thinks will work for that slide or that Instagram post or whatever it is. So what's cool, if you're in your Typeset account, if you're a user, if you're not, you can click the link right down below and get a good deal on Typeset right from this page. But if I just go in and say, hey, I want to create a new slide deck, this is what I would do with slide number 1. Again, you could use this or with Keynote or PowerPoint, but honestly, Typeset makes it a whole lot easier because I can just paste in slide number 1 and it automatically designs it. I can go in here and say, okay, I actually want it all to be left aligned, or maybe I want it to be 2 column just like this. If I don't like these colors, I can go in at any point and completely change the look and feel of the template. So we'll stick with this Luma Glow one. And then I can go and customize the entire look and feel, the fonts, the font size, line heights, padding, margins, almost everything that I want. The other thing that this webinar bot is going to do, it's going to give you your actual talk track. So I can take this talk track, I can copy it, go back into Typeset, paste it on this slide, and you can see it thinks that it's part of the slide. So it's going to start designing the slide, give it more room for all this text, but I don't have to do it that way. I can click into this text block or just put my cursor in there and change it to a note, and it turns it into the actual talk track. And then if I bring up these other lines into the talk track, you can see that one by one, these lines disappear from the slide so that the only thing the user or the viewer sees is the actual content I want them to see. And then I have my talk track right here so that when I go and actually preview this, I can present the webinar either pre-recorded or live and have my talk track over on the right-hand side. And so here now it's done with slide number 2. So I'm going to go right in, click on new slide, paste in my content, go get the talk track and do the same exact process that I just showed you. And so what you see is after a few short minutes, my slide deck is actually starting to come together. It is already pre-formatted so that when you paste it in, it does most of the heavy lifting. It chunks everything up and makes your headlines big, your bullet points small. And then you can go into any one of these and say, okay, you know what? Let me change this one to dark, and I want this one to be split up side by side here. For this one, let's go see what Typeset gives me here. I can look at, all right, make it a little whiter, make it dark again. I actually kind of like that one. That looks pretty sweet. Let's do the left aligned. I can do things like break these slides up. So maybe I say, all right, I want my title slide to just be the title. So I can put in a line break just by typing break. I can bring this back up, and let's say I want an image here. I just type image and it will come up, hit enter, go over to Getty Images, type in my keyword to go search, unless Typeset brings it up automatically, which a lot of times it makes really, really good guesses. And then I can add my image in, and you see it automatically designs it for how Typeset thinks it looks best. But again, anytime that you want, you click on the magic wand and you can see other ways to show this content. A headline and an image, I can put them on either side of the screen. I can have the text overlay, and you just pick whatever you want. And within minutes, your slide deck is coming to life for your webinar. Now, just so you know what the brain is behind the scenes on this actual webinar presentation that it's building you, what we did is we used a lot of information that we have inside of SamCart. So over 20,000 people using it, making billions of dollars per year. And also our own experience on SamCart. We probably used webinars to sell over $50 million worth of products online. And so this is the format that I personally use every time that I do a webinar. The generic basic outline, I don't need to walk you through how every single slide works. But the outline is grab people's attention, make bold statement, introduce yourself to build credibility, and then start talking about the big problem at hand, the problem that your product solves. And so in this webinar, I'm building proof that this big problem is an actual problem, digging even deeper into the problem. Then I'm demoing this new solution. I start telling the story behind how I figured out what the solution is. And then I announce that we actually have it. And then I demo the solution for them. And then I go on to actually make the pitch. Now, if you want an even bigger shortcut, right down below this video, you'll also see a link where you can download my actual pre-made webinar template that is right here. I'll show it to you. If you have a Typeset account, if you don't, there's a button where you can go grab one at an awesome price. If you have a Typeset account and you click on the import webinar template, what that's going to do is it's going to bring in this exact webinar presentation with all the notes right inside your Typeset account. So instead of me giving you one of my actual webinar presentations and you having to figure out, all right, what was Brian trying to do here or there, or what's the point of this slide? This actual template gives you not only a bunch of designs to work with, and you can use the magic wand and change all these around. You just swap out your content. This actually teaches you the flow of the perfect webinar. So you can see just slide number one, I'm showing you, look, have an attention grabbing opening. Say something that turns the head of your viewer so they want to pay attention to the rest of your video or webinar. These little instructions are formatted as notes so they don't show up. But then we point out the big problem, where we let them know they're in the right place by calling out the target audience and convincing them to pay attention by hinting that there is a new solution to their problem. Then we get into showing your credentials, where you go in and you just kind of brag about yourself. Let them know you are someone worth listening to. And I have some examples of credentials that you can give them. Then you tell your backstory. Then you go into the big discovery, how you discovered this new solution. Then you show proof that it actually works or backs up any of the claims that you're making. You can show proof back when you're talking about the problem, proof that there is a big problem. Show stats of how many people are suffering with this, or you want to prove at every point during your webinar, the more things you can throw in to back up the claims that you're making, even your credentials, instead of just saying like, hey, I was on the Forbes top 100 list, show a screenshot that you were actually on it instead of just making the claim. Then we get into digging even deeper into the problem. This is where you kind of stick the knife in and twist it, kind of just by walking people through like the real cost of not solving this problem in their life. Then you let them know there's good news. So you take your foot off the gas and let them know, like, look, all this pain that we talked about, this big problem that you're probably dealing with, we think we had figured out the solution. Then I normally tell the story of how I found the solution. So these two pictures are the actual original founders, developers of Typeset. So in my webinar with them, I talk about how I flew over to Europe, me and the team, to go meet these guys and kind of talk through, hey, could this be what we think it is? I even give kind of the outline of a great story, which is first this happened, but then this happened, which is kind of where you introduce like kind of a problem in the story, like a roadblock you've kind of ran into, and then how you overcame it. So therefore we did this. And then it kind of climaxes to, we developed the ultimate solution for this. Then I usually tell a story about how it wasn't quite ready, so we made it even better. Show proof of that story. Then you finally introduce the product. Then you prove that it worked for you, prove that it worked for others, talk about the big benefits, show how it works, pivot to the sale. And there's even little like snippets in here of like the actual script, how I pivot to the sale. Which for me, that script is normally sounds something like this. When after I tell that whole story, I say something like, look, now I know you're probably dying to get your hands on this thing, but before I show you how to do that, I want to remind you of something. And then that's where I remind them of the cost of development. Like, look, before I show you this thing, let me remind you to go solve this problem on your own. It would take all this time, all this money, all this effort on your part. Then we cover everything that they're kind of the cost of doing it on their own, and then everything that they're going to get on this slide here, kind of in this big offer. Then we reveal the special bonus, have a second bonus if you have one. Again, none of this is like set in stone. You can kind of take this and mold it. Then we reveal, hey, here's everything you're going to get and the total value of it. Then you reveal your price. Then I kind of bring emotion into this and let people know, like, look, why am I giving you all this stuff at this low of a price? Like, what's my motivation? And then there's a couple closes, kind of the ultimate way to push people over the edge at the end of a presentation. My favorites are the 3 options close, the ask yourself close. Then I do a call to action, eliminate the risk, the real question close, add a reminder, call to action number 2, eliminate any remaining objections, and then the final call to action. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a bulletproof webinar formula that, one, you can import right into Typeset and just start tweaking this. And you can just copy and paste all of this. Like we baked this right into this webinar bot. I explained every single step of every single slide and said, write this for me, as long as you have the correct information about your product that you're trying to sell. It will do a fantastic job, as well as give you the script. So I can't imagine a webinar would be any easier than this. A bot that writes it and a piece of software that designs it on the fly. So let me know if you guys use it. I'd love to hear how well it works for you. If you want to try out Typeset, there's a link right down below this video where you can import everything in and have it design it. And I think that is it. So let me know how you guys like it.